Awesome. Thanks a lot, Lexi. Thanks, Firestorm, for having me here. Can everybody hear me?
Oh.
Yep. No?
No, you're good.
Okay, is it? What?
Mic?
Higher?
Mic.
Microphone.
I can get one.
We have a microphone.
You have one?
We can do this.
Okay, yeah, because it's definitely going to blow out
Yeah.
my voice if I have to talk at that level the whole time. Alright, so I'm just going to talk as loud as I can until we get the mic up here, and then folks can hopefully hear in the back. Anyway, yeah, so my name is Scotty. I'm a co-founder of an organization in Austin, Texas that is called the Rhizome Collective. We are a nonprofit organization that has been around since 2000. We have taken an old warehouse in the east end of Austin, which is sort of the industrial corridor of the city, and converted it into a space that has a two-part function. To one, be what we call a center for community organizing. We provide low-rent space to a number of different social and activist organizations. Those include a Bikes Across Borders, which is a group that collects donations of bicycles and fixes them up and brings them down to communities in the global south to help them establish transportation autonomy. We have the Inside Books Project, which is a Books for Prisoners project, which in Texas there are many people incarcerated and not a whole lot of funding available for education or for libraries, so they fulfill an important need. We have a web radio collective, independent media, a lot of different organizations have worked out of that space. The second part of what we do is to be a center for urban sustainability education. We have on display numerous ecological tools and technologies that are designed to teach urban residents how to have more local access and control over life's essential resources, which we count as being food production, water security, waste management, energy production. We put a lot of emphasis on designing systems that are affordable, that are simple to both design, construct, maintain, and ultimately dismantle, and ones that utilize a lot of salvaged and recycled materials. Because when we're talking about doing this work in the city, salvaged and recycled materials are what are commonly abundant and locally available. All this is done with the intention of creating a version of sustainability. Oh, awesome. Okay, now I don't need to blow my throat out. Everybody hear me now? Okay, fabulous. Anyway, our goal is to create a version of sustainability that is going to be accessible to the majority world. Commonly now in conversations about sustainability and environmentalism, urban populations are typically a demographic that is overlooked. I mean, in recent years, the term sustainability has been all but entirely co-opted by corporations, by multinational organizations, to at best be a marketing term and at worst to be a synonym for the neoliberal economic agenda. So we're trying to bring sustainability, the concept of sustainability, back to its true original meaning, which is how to live in such a way that the resources available to us are going to be available to what is essentially an indefinite number of future human generations. So that is a lot of our focus. In the upcoming decades, we're going to be known as the twin hydrocarbon evils, both of energy depletion and of climate change. Exactly how these are going to converge and how these scenarios are going to play out is difficult to predict. But what we do know is that it's going to be essential to make a rapid and urgent transition into being a society and a culture that consumes drastically less. We're going to have to relocalize all of our living processes back into the places of human population. Who's familiar with the term permaculture? Is that a word that most people are more or less familiar with? Basically what permaculture is a way of designing long-lasting, sustainable human cultures. It draws on everything from modern sciences to traditional knowledge. But in a nutshell, to me, it's about is creating intensely cultivated systems in as small of a space as possible that are capable of providing for as many of our own human needs as possible. So in this regard, cities are ideal because they already are so intensely cultivated, and there is a lot of existing infrastructure available to work with as well. Whether it's old warehouses or rooftops or parking lots, there's a lot of space that through time and work can be converted so it's capable of providing us with many of our own needs. We also want to put a lot of emphasis on urban design, as currently more than 50% of the world's population is living in cities, and this number is growing considerably as well. So it's going to be incredibly important for us to build sustainable infrastructure within societies to help us make this transition as gently as possible. So what I would like to do tonight is sort of take you on a virtual tour of some of the systems we've developed at Rhizome over the past 9 years, and other ones that we've been working. I've been spending a lot of time in upstate New York recently and developing cold weather tolerant systems as well, so I'm going to show off a couple of those. And we also have a book. My partner Stacy Pettigrew and I have recently published a book called Toolbox for Sustainable City Living that has a whole bunch of diagrams and illustrations and depictions of how to implement these systems we're going to be talking about tonight in your own home, in your own neighborhood, in your own community. Illustrations are done by Juan Martinez, who's a member of the Beehive Collective. Some of you might be familiar with their organization based in Maine that create these incredibly beautiful, intricate posters to describe complex political phenomena. But I'm going to have these for sale afterwards. What's that? Turn the light out?
My mic.
Turn the mic up. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now? Can everybody hear?
Yes.
Okay. So, what we have right here is the entrance to the Rhizome Collective. This all used to be just a big asphalt parking lot when we first started. The building was sort of just a burnt out, crumbling shell. And one of the first things that we did was to go in with rock bars and pickaxes and tear out all the asphalt, which was just one of the most joyful things I've ever participated in doing. Feel that still breathe the first time all this heavy. We've created a number of gardens. We've built what is called a food forest, which is a system of perennial food-producing trees, particularly fruit and nut trees. These fruit trees and nut trees, these are a fabulous thing to have in cities because we are horizontally challenged in cities. We don't have a lot of space to be putting in garden beds necessarily, but we do have quite a bit of vertical space over our heads to be working with. So fruit trees are great in that regard because they're actually making their food up over us. And it is also speculated, I can't back this up with data at this point, but hopefully soon, that if you have soil that is of questionable quality in terms of just contamination, which is a major problem in cities, we're going to be talking a lot more about that in a bit, eating the fruit off of trees is a safer bet than eating garden vegetables that are grown in contaminated soils. And that's simply because contaminants are less likely to go through the roots of a tree, through its stalk and stems, and then finally into the fruit than they would be in something like a mustard green that is growing in contaminated soil. So, what you'll actually notice right here is we have tons of wood mulch that's been spread around, which over the years has broken down into several inches of soil, which all kind of acts like a giant biological sponge. I mean, down in Texas, we need to preserve every drop of water we can get, particularly during the summers, which are just notoriously hot and dry. The way we've done this is by, well, actually, right around the corner from us, there's a tree mulching business that every day has to take dump truck loads of wood mulch to the landfill, where they have to pay to throw it in the dump. And who can tell me what gas is made when organic matter like wood chips is thrown in the ground and covered up? Methane, which pound per pound is 20 times more potent of a greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. Between 3 to 6% of greenhouse gas emissions in the US originate from landfills in the first place.